Greetings, salutations, respect and love. I am Scott, and you are in the Prog Corner. And oh man, in case the thumbnail and the title didn't give you a little clue, or the dude right next to me on screen, I am blessed with the enormous talent of Gregory Spawton on the channel today. Greg, how you doing?
Very good, thank you, Scott.
All right, man. I am so excited. We've got a lot to talk about, and I don't want to keep you too long. And the reality is that, the longer these interviews go, the less views normally we get. So I like to keep things tight and concise. But man, we've got something exciting, as the crawl underneath is kind of indicating. Brand new Big Train album coming out March 1st called The Likes of Us. And Greg, give me a little, just a little brief history about how this record was made. And there's been so much turmoil in the Big Train camp. We didn't even know if this album would ever come. I'm so excited. Tell me a little bit about how this album even came about.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, after we lost David, none of us were sure what would happen with the band. Initially, didn't feel like we could carry on. Myself and Rickard and NDV, we got together and decided that we'd give it another go. We were looking for a new vocalist. We found Alberto Bravin, who was singing for PFM. In fact, I'd seen Alberto back in 2015 at a PFM show, and I just thought, wow, that guy's got an amazing voice. And I'd sort of kept his name on my phone just to kind of, maybe I thought I'd do a solo album and use him as a vocalist or something. So he was top of my list for us to audition. And yeah,
Alberto's more than just a singer, right? I mean, this guy's got the golden ear. He helped mix this album, didn't he?
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I didn't know. I recruited him as a singer. That was it. Yeah. I didn't know that he wrote songs. I didn't know that he was a mixing engineer. I didn't know, that he could do all that he could do with PFM, because of the story of that band. It's a 70s band. Or in fact, it goes back even further than that. But it's, the older band members are kind of in charge of things. And so Alberto wasn't really allowed to sort of spread his wings and show what he could do. Big Train's different to that. And if you've got talent, we'll just, we want to see it and we want to hear it. So yeah, early on in the conversations about making a new album, I said to him, do you have any songs that you want to put forward? And he started putting material forward, and I was just listening to it thinking, great, this is, not only is this great songwriting, it fits Big Train.
It was important. Yeah, it really does. I mean, that was my biggest worry. Was I knew Alberto Brevin was amazing. I mean, PFM doesn't mess around, man. If he's messing with PFM, he's obviously got some chops. But who knew he could write songs like this? The songwriting on the new album is very, very strong. Now, this had a different working title originally, right?
So originally the album, when I was talking to David when he was alive about the next album we were going to make an album called Shallow Enders.
Oh, that's
and that
right.
was a reference to the fact that neither he nor I could swim when we were kids. In fact, I still can't really swim. I must make sure I don't fall off the side of the cruise to the edge ship, because that opens curtains for me.
But we'll see if it happens. They'll turn the boat around and come get you.
I hope so. But it was just a funny thing in the Midlands of England. If you can't swim when you're at school, you get put in with a bunch of kids called the Shallow Enders, and I thought that was quite a good analogy for the band, really. So that was the plan we had. After David passed away and we decided to carry on, I didn't. It felt a bit disrespectful to carry on with that idea. The phrase does appear once on the album, so there's a kind of a little bit of it on there. But otherwise, we wanted this to be a new thing, and to we were starting the band with a new lineup. And as I say, I got lucky with Albie, and everybody sort of we recorded the album all in the room together in Italy, and it was like an old school 70s album. Everybody looking at each other, everybody chucking ideas at each other and all that sort of stuff. And it was just an absolute blast. We had a great time. And life's been difficult with the loss of David. I've lost my stepfather recently as well. So for me to have the pleasure of spending time with my bandmates and doing something productive, it's been really important. It's helped me sort of turn things around a bit. And
you would think David would have wanted this, right? He wouldn't have wanted Big Train to die. He worked his butt off to get Big Train where they were, as you all did. He wouldn't have wanted to see that thing die. So I am happy that you're
absolutely right. He in fact, his partner Sarah reminded me of that when she knew that we were uncertain about carrying on or not. She said he would have wanted this, and unquestionably he would have done. And one of the things that David will always be part of our story, a huge part of our story. And one of the things that we will always do is to play some of his songs and that helps to keep his story alive as well. So
we've got Sarah doing the album cover again. So
exactly, yeah. We're really pleased that she chose to do the album cover for us. So yeah, we're trying to keep the vibe going of the band, but at the same time we have a new lineup and all of those things. So it's been.
I gotta say, Greg, I was a little confused listening to the album because Oblivion came out first, and then we heard Atlantic Cable, the live version on Ingenious Devices. So I'd kind of gotten a feel for what Alberto's voice sounds like. And then and I know Nick's voice, but then all of a sudden I'm hearing another dude, man. Who knew Oscar could sing like this?
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, Oscar, we have a band. I think there's about 5 singers in the band. I'm the only one that doesn't really, I'm not allowed near a microphone apart from this one. We're blessed with that. And as you can hear as you've heard on the album, there are several sections where we have some fairly big vocal arrangements where people do their thing. And it's great fun. It's a lovely thing to do live. Again, we recorded as much of that as we could in the room together with all the vocalists together in booths. Great fun. And it brings something different, I think, we've always had a good vocal arranger. David was a great vocal arranger, but I think we've really gone to town on it on this album.
It feels like it's more of like a vocal by committee, and I really wasn't expecting that. I figured, hey, you got a brand new shiny singer, let's utilize him almost exclusively. Another thing that kind of surprised me is I figured, you'd throw some instrumentals on. David's not here, so let's maybe make it kind of, not as much vocal emphasis, but these are all songs. There's no instrumentals on here. It really feels like vocal is by committee, and it totally works. But I am just impressed with Oscar, and some of those keyboard sounds he's getting are kind of new and different to Big Big Train.
I agree.
It's just incredible. He adds this spark of youth and energy that is just making this album a real pleasure to listen to. And I got to say, the running time is just awesome, man. What's it, like 47 minutes? So it is this beautiful listen that you can sit down in one sitting and just absorb it all. Yeah, I'm really impressed. I will be reviewing the album, not next week. Inside Out told me to wait until the middle of February to drop my release, and I'm chomping at the bit, man. I want to do my review now, but I did want to talk a little bit about how you guys came to fall under Thomas Weber's spell and to get under the umbrella of Inside Out. I think it's a natural fit, but how'd that come about?
It is a natural fit. I mean, we've been an independent band for a very long time, and we've done pretty well for a sort of traditional progressive rock band. We've built an audience mainly in the UK, to be honest. Growing in Europe, we haven't got so much of an audience in the States. People like yourself are helping us to build it there. But I think we just, for the last few years, we've been thinking, there's kind of a glass ceiling here for an independent band. There's kind of, we could do with a bit more push behind us to reach more people. And we had offers from a few labels, but Inside Out seemed to us to be the best fit. And I have to be honest, I've known Thomas for many years. And Thomas what I like about Thomas, when I first knew him, he's a very plain speaking German guy. He says exactly what he thinks, and he says it in a very pointed way. And when I first met him, I was like, oh, crikey, that's a bit full on. I mean, I'm like an English dude, and in England, we kind of, we beat around the bush a bit. Yeah. We're not straight to the point. Thomas is not like that. People from Holland are similar. They're just straight to the point. And the older I've got, the more I like that. They don't fuck around. They just say what they think. And they say it straight out. And what maybe 10 years ago would have bruised me is like, get your point, fully take that on board. And he's been awesome. And so, so the other A&R guy we're working with is a guy called Freddie, and he's been awesome too. So we've had a brilliant experience with them. They've enabled the album to be mixed in Dolby Atmos. So we've got a bit more, we've got a little bit more heft in terms of what we can put into the marketplace. There's a special vinyl color for US purchasers through Bandwagon, again. So they've been really good at working with our normal stores, so we have Bandwagon in the USA and we have Burning Shed over in the UK.
Yeah, and I want to stop you right there for all my viewers in the US who complain all the time about Burning Shed, and the UK postal rates to the US can be a little onerous. Doesn't bother me any, but I know a lot of people have a problem with it. Bandwagon USA is really starting to come up. They're really starting to be kind of one of the main distributors for product in the US. Check them out. Of course, there's others, but they're kind of new, and I'm excited because I know they are, definitely fans of your band.
They're great people, and Rita K. Drew comes on tour. She's the main girl behind Bandwagon USA, and she comes on tour with us and handles our merch. We're working very closely with her at the moment to get the merch all ready for our US shows and stuff. So great again, and it's really important to work with good people. They help to. We're all after the same thing, which is that the music needs to be heard by as many people as can be. And to work with, people like Burning Shed and Bandwagon and Inside Out has been a great thing for us, really important.
Now, this new album, like I said before, feels very much by committee as far as the vocals go. I'm assuming that was probably the case with the songwriting, too. I know with David in the band, his songs just stuck out, man. You knew a David Longdon song from a mile away. It was just so obvious it was him. But the edges are a little blurry for me, man. Can you break down a little bit, who's responsible for writing?
I would agree with that, actually. I think there's a lot more, there's more co-writing this time. And I think that's the direction that we will go in future. I think David was I think, bless him, he was a frustrated solo artist in a band. And the fact that he gave so much of his life to Big Big Train is a gift that I'll never forget, because I think if he could have had his life, he would have been David Longdon and doing his own thing. And for the last 2 or 3 years of his life, he was doing quite a lot of solo work. But he always was going to come back to Big Big Train. That was always important to him. And so, the fact that he gifted us his songs, he gifted us his talent was a wonderful thing. But again, I think what's happened in my life because we lost David. I can't unhappen that's happened. I've just gone with the flow and embraced change. Things are different now. I can't make them any different. So I've been very blessed with Alberto being a wonderful new frontman. We've got lovely new violinist Claire. We've got Oscar on keyboards, etc. So it's a great lineup. And,
Carly Bryant no longer in the band, but we've got Claire Lindley, just amazing.
Awesome.
And talk to me a little bit about Dave Foster. Some of that guitar work.
So Dave's incredibly talented, and he's been known to a manager for quite a long time. He plays primarily in the Steve Rothery band, but he's got his own gig as well. He's got Dave Foster albums. And we also have, alongside Inside Out, we have our own record label, and that releases his music. The only problem we've had with Dave is that we've had quite a lot of schedule conflicts, and that's one of the stories of progressive rock, or I've had any rock bands in the current era, because we're all trying to make a living. All of us, or most of us, have to do more than one gig.
And a lot of different pots. Yeah,
exactly. Otherwise, you can't make a living. And Dave. Claire is a violin teacher on the side, and also has folk bands. And Dave is a guitar teacher, and he has other bands too. And similarly with Oscar, again, a piano teacher. So everybody's trying to have to do. They've got different side hustles, etc.
Yeah.
So the main problem
kind of have to nowadays. You kind of have to. I was talking to Neil Morris about that, and just how important it is for an artist today to have those, multiple revenue streams going, because you're not going to get rich selling, CDs and vinyl. So you got to be real creative.
Yeah, those days have gone, and we have to think on our feet. And the thing for me is there's no point moaning about it. The record industry is a tough place for artists to be these days. You can either moan and groan and say, "Oh, streaming's crap" and all that stuff, or you just have to think on your feet, go with the flow. We've got something called the Passengers Club, which generates a lot of income for us. We've had wonderful tour patrons coming in and supporting the band, and it is a patronage thing. It's people saying, right, I want this band to thrive and survive. I want to hear their music, so I'm going to gift some money to them. In effect, stuff comes back their way, but primarily it is about, really, it's almost returning to kind of medieval times when you have court musicians and stuff like that, and you would have people supporting them through power of patronage, and that's how it is, And you just got to go with the flow. There's no point moaning. I'm not. I've got to a stage in my life where I'm trying not to moan about things. You're dealt the hand that you're dealt with. Just try and get on with it and do the best you can, and that's what we're trying to do with the help of our fans.
I gotta say, roll back the clock. What was it, 2019? And Big Train releases Grand Tour, which I'm flanked by my two favorites, Grand Tour and Folklore. I just love all the albums, but those are my two favorites.
Sure.
And you guys get your first American tour planned and everything's going great. Grand Tour is just the most amazing album I've ever heard in my life. And then the pandemic hits and they have to refund my tickets for my Big Train concert that I was planning on going to see in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And then my favorite guitar player of all time quits the band. And oh man, it was just Andy Poole and Dave Gregory. And then
it was a real...
Bryant.
It was a really tough time for us. And
I don't know how you are where you are right now with everything you've gone through in the last couple of years. To put out an album as good as the likes of us is just ridiculous. I mean, it's just crazy. This thing, ladies and gentlemen, can you see it? There we go.
Thank you.
I don't have the physical copy yet. Sarah's great artwork. I love her. To be able to put out an album of this quality after all the setbacks that you guys have had, it's got to be pretty satisfying for you.
It's been a terrible. We had a terrible time. I mean, we had the COVID thing. I mean, it cost money for people that had booked hotels and stuff. It cost us, I think, £7,000 or £8,000 on US visas that we paid for. And you don't get the money back. So the US government didn't say, "Oh, we know you can't travel now. We'll extend that visa." It was gone. So literally, we were just hemorrhaging cash.
Yeah.
And then Danny decided, and Dave decided they didn't want to continue. I think the thing with the COVID era for musicians,
Danny too.
It made people think, "What do I want to do with my life?" It caused a lot of things. And do I want to be in a tour bus, crammed together with 15 other people? Working on stages, and I think it made people feel a bit vulnerable, especially now. Whether or not, with all that we know about the pandemic, whether or not the decisions that those guys would make today would be different, I don't know. But at the time, they made the decisions that were right for them, and I fully support them in what they decided to do. So we just carried on really, and it was down to the four of us, and then David, we lost David. So for a little while it was just the three of us really.
And then core four turned into the core three.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And without, I mean, you ask how we've carried on. It's friendships. Without the friendships of NDV and Rickard to start with, and then the newer band members, I wouldn't be able to have carried on really in terms of making music or just doing stuff. It was such a challenging time for us, and we tried to talk about that on the album. There's several songs on the album that are about friendships and about sticking together, a bit about being outsiders, those sort of things. So we tried to talk about those themes in our lyrics and in our songs because they are vital for people's well-being, I think.
And I think the thing that's really amazing about this new album, Greg, is everybody loves the long epics, man. Beneath the Mask. Oh, man, I can't wait for people to hear that song. I just can't. Oh, it's so good.
Actually, I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping people will really like it because
it's some of the shorter tracks, man, like that little Skates On song, man. That just you listen to it. And I know you've gone through some loss in your life. I just lost somebody real close to me last week. And listening to that song, man, the little tears welling up and stuff. Just a real beautiful
Thank you.
life-affirming piece of music. Who wrote that one?
I mean, yeah, those are lovely words, and I that's exactly what we're hoping, and that's exactly right. It is the sentiment that it is life-affirming is what we're trying to sort of get to, really. And beneath the mask, yeah, it's a sad story. You know, it's primarily about my stepfather who passed away last year, but that connected me with my childhood, and I tried to sort of tell a story across 70 minutes. But at the end of it, you know, spring is around the corner. You've got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off. So it's not a happy ending, but there's an ending which just that life must go on because there is no other choice, or you don't have another choice. So yeah, it's going to be interesting for me. It's interesting you mentioned those two songs because you got your long 17-minute piece and you got Skates On, which is kind of almost a Beach Boysy, a bit Beatlesy maybe, and
yeah, maybe a little XTC, little Beach Boys.
Yeah, XTC. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's got all of those things in there, but it's a bit of yin and yang, and I think that's the important thing with an album. If you hit everybody, well, I like Tales from Tropic Affrications, but undoubtedly, if they'd have made that album differently and maybe sprinkled some shorter pieces in there, it would have felt like a more approachable thing, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
I don't think they were concerned about approachability when they were recording that beast right there. That was the last thing on John and Steve's mind.
No, they went with it.
Yeah, they did. Thank God they did, man. You know, the 70s were a special time. You know, that band was so big they could do anything, and Amit Erdogan would have said, "Okay, whatever, it's gonna sell."
That's exactly right, and I think that's I take my hat off to them. And in fact, me and Rickard, we both love Topographic Oceans. I mean, you couldn't get arrested if you said you loved it back in the day.
Oh yeah,
but actually, I really like it. I think it stood the test of time. But I rest my case. So my favorite, yes, I'm going for the one.
There you go.
And I'm going for the one. You've got Awaken, which is just a sensational longer piece of music. But you've also got shorter things like Wondrous Stories, and it just gives it that balance and flow of a beautifully made album with shorter and longer pieces. So I think,
Well, I'm a huge Yes guy, so it just always seems to follow that. No matter what I do, no matter what topic I'm on, somehow, some way, it always goes back to Yes, and I'm okay with that because they're my favorite band of all time. So,
me too. I love them.
It happens like that. Now, I mentioned the tour. I mentioned you guys. You had a U.S. tour planned back in 2020, and that evil pandemic took it away from me. And I gotta say, Greg, I was a little salty, man. I was mad at the world. I really was. I was mad at you. I was mad at the world. I was mad at everybody. I'm like, this pandemic is not only ruining my life, it's ruining my favorite band. I was really upset for a while. But
me too.
Luckily, Common Ground came out, and I was okay.
Yeah. We tried to make the best that we could of the time that we had.
Now the tour starts in Fort Wayne, Indiana, right? Is that the first?
It does, yeah. So that's where Nick NDV lives there.
Sweetwater
so we
connection.
wanted to play a show in Fort Wayne for a while, and then we head off to New Jersey, I think. And
2 shows in New Jersey, I think, and then one in Boston. And you just added one, right?
We did. We're going to Buffalo as well. So we're hoping that some fans from Canada might. I don't know. I'm sorry for my ignorance. I don't know North American geography as well as I should. But I think Buffalo's close enough to Canada to maybe bring some fans in from Canada.
Yeah, it's right on the border, so that's actually a good call. I know there's quite a few passengers in Canada. I love the Big Train Facebook page. It's just so awesome. These passengers, man. I read about these clowns from all over the world, flying to see you guys in London. It's just amazing. There aren't many bands, who can actually say that outside, the big top tier bands. But to see an independent band like Big Train pull fans from around the world, and they'll fly, thousands of miles to come see you, it's really impressive.
We're truly blessed, and the lovely thing is they do their whole, they have the fan meet and greets together themselves. They just go to a pub. In fact, on the last tour we did, we went out for a drink after a couple of the shows and just stumbled into the sort of the fans, who got their own pub sorted. And our little tour in America is called a Mead Hall in America. So we're actually branding it that.
Nice.
Because we're trying to hope to create that kind of same vibe of fans coming together to just share their love of music. That's it, really.
And what's
And videos.
amazing is if you count, the band has been together how long now? Like 25 years, something like that, Greg?
Well, I'm the only one from the early formation of
Right.
the band. So we've been. I mean, in fact, the band was originally founded in 1990, so a hell of a long time ago. Yeah, a hell of a long time ago. But it's changed so much, and I think that from my point of view, the band that I know started in 2009 with NDV and David joining, and Dave Desmond, the brass arranger, coming on board as well. So that's been the kind of the root of the modern version of the band. And of course, it's a new, as we said before, it's a new lineup now as well.
Yeah,
but we've done more gigs. I think
2009
we've done as many gigs with this new lineup as we have with the whole of the previous lineup. So
that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's not like you guys have been touring heavy throughout that entire length of time.
That's right.
And
gigs for BB3 were few and far between. We came back to the live stage in 2015, but we were still playing maybe 3 or 4 shows a year. We played 6 shows in 2019, and then that was the longest tour we'd done up to then. And then this tour we just did last year was 17 shows. It was a proper length tour, and that's going to be the future of the band. Some proper touring moving forward.
Now, talking about that older stuff, when are we going to get some vinyl reissues for that old stuff, Bard and those first 5 albums? And Far Skies Deep Time, man, we need that reissued too. I need that on vinyl.
Yeah. I think there are some vinyl represses in the works, or shortly will be in the works. Bard has been remixed. So Bard is the missing album. It's the lost album, and it's not very good. It's a product of its time, but people were spending crazy amounts of money on buying it on CD. Because we only ever pressed 1,000 copies up. So we thought, okay, well, let's at least remix it and get it sounding as good as we can. And that's what we've done. It's all finished. We need to get it pressed up, and it will come out on vinyl as well. But it's going to be a limited edition. We're not going to put it on streaming sites, so it'll just be a one-time offer for Bard, certainly. The others, I think, we'll bring back to the market because there's demand for them again now. And then maybe in a few years' time, maybe 5 or 10 years, we'll do like a big box set and try and, with extras and all those things. We'll see.
That would be amazing.
We'll try.
Box set culture is something I kind of don't really understand, but it's a thing. I mean, anytime somebody does I got a new box set and they do a video on YouTube, I mean, everybody and their monkey's uncle watches it. It's interesting. I don't really get it.
I think some of the box sets are just too much. You don't need 20 versions of a song. I think the box set that we will try to do, if we do one, will give each album will have additional sleeve notes, but maybe 2 or 3 bonus tracks of the time that the album was made, or maybe a live recording or something. So we'll try to add some additional value, and I think it'd be nice just to have something on the shelves.
I think so too. Now, you mentioned 2009 as kind of year 0 for this modern incarnation of Big Train, and obviously when you add Nick DiVirgilio, although he had played on the previous album, he was not.
He had, as a session player.
Nick DiVirgilio, David Longdon, and Dave Gregory. Did you realize what a monster you were putting together in 2009?
No, we had no idea. It was kind of a naive thing. There was, I mean, I still had an office job at the time.
Wow.
And there was a guy, Dave. We were huge XTC fans, and Andy and I were discussing getting Dave Gregory to play a solo for us, and oh my God, genius work, absolutely genius work. But there was a guy in my office who I mentioned it to him, and he said, well, I grew up with Dave. He's one of my best mates. And I thought, really? So we made the approach through him, just a guy that I work with. And Dave, I think for Dave, it was nice because one of the rules in XTC was if you have a solo, and there's one song they did called Books of Burning where there's quite some lengthy soloing. But most of the time, they had more of a new wave kind of vibe going on. And solos were short and sweet. They'd be beautifully constructed, but they'd be short and sweet.
Oh, yeah. Dave got 8 measures. That was a lot.
That's it. Exactly. We gave the first thing that Dave Gregory did for us was a song called Last Train, where he had a 2-minute guitar solo. So, and he said to me, I've never, ever been asked to actually write a solo of that length before. And he, bless him, he wrote a lovely. I mean, and you could see a very musical mind here because the solo was constructed in a particular way with a beginning, middle, and end. So the minute we heard that, we were like, "Oh my god, this is incredible!" You know, NDV. I mean, NDV's just like a serious drummer. You know, the dude is a huge Tony Williams fan, a huge Phil Collins fan. He's got that sort of, he's got that kind of fusion crossover thing that he can do. So we can throw 9/8, 11/8, you know, 13/8, 5, whatever we can throw at him, and he can make it groove.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the thing for me. You can have a drummer that can play in a time signature, but if they can't groove in it, it doesn't mean a thing.
Well, and that's why Nick is such a rare beast, is that he is one of those monster drummers. You can put him right up there with the Mike Portnoys and the Marco Minimums and the Craig Blundells, and he more than holds his own.
Oh,
I would say he's got more swing than any of them.
I totally agree with you, and brother. I couldn't agree more. He absolutely has got that kind of 70s swing vibe to his playing, and he can hit the drums hard. He's out with Mr. Big at the moment, so he can do rock and roll, but he is a prog fusionist at heart. And when he plays with us, that's, you know, that we're his band. He says that, and he gets to play in 19/8 and make it swing and, you know, have a great time. So I'm incredibly privileged with the people that surround.
I guess
I've always said the big thing in my life is surround yourself with talented people. That's the thing, and not everybody gets the chance to do that, but I've had that opportunity on a number of occasions, and you know, it then enables my songs then to really fly. So
I can't think of many bands that in one fell swoop added the world's greatest vocalist, the world's greatest guitar player, and the world's greatest drummer all at the same time. It's insane. The Underfall Yard better have been good.
And that was a nice thing from me and Andy's point of view. It was, you know, these guys want to play with us. It's an amazing thing, you know. And we kind of lured NDV on board. You know, it was, as you said, he played on a different machine a couple of years before, but that was a session.
Yeah.
But I think he began to, you know, we began to hang with him a lot more, so we became friends. And then, you know, after a while, he just said, "Look, dude, I really want to join the band properly here." So yeah, and he had this box thing still going on, and then he had this Cirque thing that he had to go and do. But you know, we're honoured that he stuck with us. You know, he's just. Yeah, he's a dear friend, and he's
like you
just
said, he could play with anybody. You know, Craig needed to take some time off. Who did Steve Hackett call? Of course he called Nick. I mean, Mr. Big needs a drummer. Who are they going to call? Of course they're going to call Nick. The guy's just an absolute monster. And I love his drumming throughout this new record. I'm telling you, Greg, this is a dynamite record, and you're too close to it. You don't know. You can't judge your own music. It's impossible.
No, that's right.
So I'm here to do it for you, and it's amazing, man. The likes of us.
No, you're absolutely right. We get too close, and you know, thankfully we've had a little bit of a gap, and you know, we're beginning to think we've done something good here. But it's hearing it from people like yourselves, who are critical friends. You know, you're not going to sit there and blow smoke up our asses. You're going to tell us if something's okay or is
that's right. We're not friends. I'm not afraid to offend anybody, man.
No,
you know, I kind of stay in my cave. I'm kind of like a hermit. I don't really get out. I don't talk to people. I just do this right here. So I feel insulated. If I don't like something, I'll either just ignore it or, you know.
And that's right. You know, you've got to go.
I only talk about the music I love. I don't waste my time reviewing albums that I don't enjoy, because if I review an album, I'm going to listen to it at least 10 or 15 times. Yeah. I like to get under the hood. I like to kick the tires. I like to see what key signature we're in. I like to know what time signature we're in. I like to read all the lyrics. I want to really know about a record before I talk about it. And so I'm really excited about telling my people about this new one, the new Big Train album. It comes out March 1st on Inside Out Music. Their first for Inside Out, I got to say, which is pretty exciting. And The Likes of Us is a really, really solid record, Greg. You should be very, very proud. Thank you so much for spending some time with me on the Prog Corner, man. This has been awesome.
Really good to meet you, Scott. Take care, mate.
Absolutely. The one and only Greg Spawton from Big Train, ladies and gentlemen. next week, I might even get to interview Steve Hackett. I'm working on that, talking about the Inside Out connection. They treat me good over there.
Excellent.
They know what I do, man. I move the needle. That's what I do. I sell units. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about me. My goal is to make sure every artist that I talk about, they're actually a little bit better off after I talk about them than before. And man, oh man, people, you got to hear this new Big Train album. It's amazing. Anyway, next week I will be reviewing the new album from The Smile, Wall of Eyes. It's so good. If you like Radiohead, there's no reason why you wouldn't like that. And then next week we'll probably be doing a Big Train album review. Who knows? It's going to be a lot of fun. Greg, thank you for your time. Man, oh man, I love Big Train. So this was a real thrill for me.
Great. Really good to meet you, Scott. Take care, man.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to sign off in the usual way. The peeps would be disappointed if they didn't get their obligatory peace in the Middle East, free Tibet, and God save the king. Save King Chucky. Save him. Save King Chucky. King Charles needs your saving right now. Yes, indeed. Send that boy to America. We'll save him real good. Yes, we will. Peace. Thank you, Greg. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you, mate.
Man.
Cheers.
I'll see everybody soon.
See you soon.